If you're unhappy at work, you're not alone. The Conference Board research shows that 53% of Americans are unhappy or dissatisfied with their employment. And there's research that shows that there are 5 fundamental reasons. One or more of these might be you. The first of those 5 reasons are a talent versus task mismatch. I think of one of my first jobs. I was a purchasing agent at a place called Rivermead, and I was just a lousy purchasing agent. And the work itself was just really uninteresting to me. So there was a mismatch between who I was and the work that had to be done. The second one is you don't fit into the organizational culture. I had a woman who worked for me whose name was Judy, and her previous employer was a very young culture and a very alcohol positive culture. On Fridays, they would always have a happy hours. One of the employees would have to show off their skills at mixing drinks. Now, Judy doesn't really drink. And so there was this mismatch of the organizational culture with her personal lifestyle and being. So organizational culture could be one. Cost versus benefit. In other words, how much are you putting into this versus what you're getting out of it? My wife worked in management training at a small retail company, and she would just come home exhausted after all day working. The pay just wasn't worth it. So that's the other thing where pay falls in, and that is cost versus benefit. Because there are people who work on the oil pipelines up in Alaska who work almost 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts, and they're happy because they get paid so much relative to the terrible conditions they have to live in and work in. But the cost versus benefit is positive in their mind. For my wife, working at the cost was too high versus the benefit. The fourth one is fulfillment, and that is, does the work actually do something for you as a human being and your values? I had a woman who was terrific who worked at Experience to Lead, but she had just come off of 3 consecutive mission trips to Africa. And she did a great job for us, but her heart just wasn't in it. And so she left us, and what did she do? She went on another mission trip. So no matter how good the talent match could have been for me, or the organizational culture that I created, or the cost benefit of the job, she wasn't going to stay because her heart was someplace else.
Yes.
There's 2 things I would suggest you do. One is, to what degree is each one of these the reason why you're dissatisfied or unhappy at work? And then the second thing is, could a side hustle or owning your own business solve each one of these? I'll give you a couple of examples. If organizational culture is the issue, as a business owner, you create the culture. If it's cost versus benefits, you decide what you're going to pay and what you're going to get out of it because you're the boss. If in terms of fulfillment, you can pick an area of work that is most rewarding for you in your inner self. And then in terms of talent, you pick the work that you're going to do, and hopefully you can delegate other pieces. So if you think you're up to it, you can keep your current job even though you're unhappy, and you can find fulfillment and pay and a match with your talent in a side hustle. And if that grows and if that's successful, you could turn that into your own business. Think about it.